Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto, and today guys we are taking another cheeky look at XRP. Specifically we're going to have a look at the XRP to USD chart. We're going to have a look at the chart and do some technical analysis for XRP on the daily, 4-hourly and 1-hourly views. We're going to get into what might be happening here on the short term, where we might see some significant price movements to the upward direction of 61 or so cent, and what we're seeing on the chart and where we see some key areas to be concerned and also hopeful for the near term. We'll also probably have a look at, Chris, the KIN token, see what impact that might have on the XRP token after the SEC nonsense is all over. So guys, if you do find this video useful, informative, do go ahead and smash that like button for Chris. He really does appreciate it, as do I. And if by chance you're new to the channel and not yet subscribed, do go ahead and subscribe. By subscribing, you will be kept up to date with all the videos and live streams that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Right, with all of that said and done, Chris, shall we jump on over to the chart and take a look at XRP to the USD?
Just before we do, Nick, I know it's not a Cardano video, but the usual spill. We have set up the Cardano staking pool for anyone that isn't delegating already or is delegating to another pool but would like to move to our new swanky,
shiny, sparkling
Cardano staking pool, the cheeky one. The ticker is Cheek. You can obviously delegate. You can delegate using the Deadliest wallet, your wallet, and the Atomic wallet. And join us. It'd be great to mint our first block together and receive some juicy rewards.
Fantastic. Yeah, it's relatively fresh, so I think we've got about 450-ish thousand ADA in there at the minute, but plenty of room to the upside, nowhere near saturation point. So if your pool's getting close, do check out the Cheeky Crypto pool under the ticker Cheek. Right, let's jump on over to the desktop, Chris, and take a look at this XRP chart and see what's going on.
Yeah, let's do it.
Fantastic. So here we are on the XRP to USD chart daily view to start with. From here we can see, the everything that's happened here most recently. Obviously through November, the SEC nonsense, the pump and dump scam, that I'm going to call it a scam anyway, on the 1st of February, obviously driving that all the way up to 73 cent. And then obviously crashing it right the way back down here to 36. So yeah, we've definitely seen some fluctuations with XRP recently, haven't we, Chris? And let's see what we can see inside the technicals that might help us, see what's on the horizon. Okay, so outside of major events such as the SEC nonsense and pump and dump scams, which we just that is what it is.
I think they were going to become more and more frequent, not just in like crypto, but even in the stock market. I think a precedent has been set, and there's going to be some legislation, I'm sure, that follows.
Absolutely. So what we've drawn here is an upward trend line. It's just showing you that upward direction, and we obviously have lots of different support and resistance lines. Most notably on this daily chart, we have a support line down here. Okay, this comes in at 36.9 cent. And we have resistance currently up here, and that comes in at 46.7 cent. Okay, the upward trend is basically kind of saying we're in a narrowing wedge, and that's going to have to play out, right? The upward trend is going to get broken, most likely. That's how I see it. If, however, the upward trend is stronger than our resistance, then we'll break through here in the next day, really, Chris. It's only really got one more day to play out. So we'll know definitively on the 7th of February. When you're watching this, you'll know really what direction this thing's going. If it's coming down here, then the trend's been broken. And if it's come up here, then basically the resistance was too weak. So that's going to be interesting. With all that said, we can see that the volumes have decreased, obviously, since that dumping over there, and obviously what was going on to the upside. But most frequently, if we just look at the last 3 days, the volumes are decreasing day on day. And that's not a bad thing, guys. A decrease in volume actually allows us to do a few corrections. Okay, so being overbought up here, for example, by having your volumes decrease over time, you'll correct your RSI. Your RSI will correct your MACD. Okay, so let's pull this down into our 4-hourly view and just review what's going on here. Here you can see more of the same, like this trend line and how it's working and where we are currently pushing up against it. And we have only really a few hours left of this particular wedge that's formed, and whether or not will break out. So that hasn't changed. It's just a little bit of a granular view. You get to see exactly what's happening here. We're bouncing on this line, we're moving to the upside, we come down, we keep bouncing off of it. And are we going to get a bounce here? This is a crucial point for XRP. If it gets the bounce and moves on out of here, that would be fantastic. If it doesn't, then it's going to fall down. And we'll be looking to kind of get into one of these zones here, rather the Fibonacci retracement zone, that being the 39.1 cent, or the full support line of 36.9. Okay, so it's going to be one of those two areas that it's most likely going to fall back to. Okay, there's going to be strong support around here on that Fibonacci, but if that doesn't hold, yeah, we're expecting 36.9 if this upward trend does not hold. And if we look at the volumes on this, we'll look at it after the dump of XRP. We'll see the little baby pump that we had and the volumes coming down. So the coming down of the volumes are a good way to correct this RSI. Okay, so we obviously had the volume coming to the upside. That gave us the positive MACD. The MACD is currently in a negative after we've had that kind of correction in the volume come to the downside. We're currently at 55 on this RSI, and yeah, that's a good amount of area to move to the upside if needed. So if those volumes decide to turn bullish, for example, then we have a lot of room up here to come up to push the price higher. So that's looking pretty good from that perspective. We'll go down one level lower. We'll look at the hourly view, and on the hourly view we get to see a little bit more of what's going on. Our trend line's not exactly perfect because I drew it on the daily. So here you can see that actually it needs correcting a little bit to give us a better view. But I'm going to leave it where it is for now. We know roughly where it's in there, and we've got this triangular wedge right here that we're talking about. So the candles do not change our opinion on what's going to occur here. We have a certain amount of hours left to play this out. We can see from the volumes how that spike came up and has come down quite flat, and our RSI has been responding accordingly. So we've been down here as this low point once we got all that negative kind of selling pressure here. That brought us down to about 44 in this RSI, and the green volume kicked in. Although this has been very, very flat, we've seen an RSI move to the upside a little bit and pull back down to the 50 level. Most currently, this is at 52 on this RSI. So there's still, you know, plenty of room to come to the upside if the volumes were to correct in a positive way to the upside. So there's plenty of scope here. Obviously, with these volumes being flat, if the volume were to increase and it was a high selling pressure, then we're going to fall right down here on that RSI, become oversold. And obviously then that would trigger a massive buying event to pull us back up here. Now, with that being said, you can see what happens when the SEC announced their lawsuit. We had all of this selling pressure. It brought the RSI all the way down here, but we were overbought at the time, so that complete crashed, right? So ultimately, we are in a situation where, depending what kind of volume that we get in this next kind of step, in the next kind of day, will really determine, you know, how this RSI responds. It will determine how the MACD responds, and obviously the candles will reflect the volume and everything else as well. So from a trading point of view, we're in a position here on this RSI where we have lots of room to the upside, but we also have lots of room to the downside. Okay, so we're slap bang in the middle of our RSI. So the volumes are going to be key into telling us what is going to happen. We obviously need to see the spike, but we need that to be positive buying pressure rather than selling pressure. So we'll see how that plays out. And this is why within this triangular wedge that's been forming, we would have liked the RSI to potentially be down here. That would give us a strong indication that we're going to break the resistance and go to the upside. But because we're halfway through this RSI and we've only got a day left to play on this triangular wedge, it could go in either direction, and the volume is the key player here. So let's pull this back up to our daily view. So it's going to be much of the same as what I've just spoke about there. The RSI is actually in this mid-range here, in that 50 zone. The volumes are flat, and whatever the volumes decide to do during the 7th of February will determine whether we are going to break that resistance or break the trend line. And yeah, one way or another, we're going to find out shortly. It really is, yeah. So what I'm going to talk about, Chris, is what might happen if we were to break through here. Well, straight away, we're going to come to the 618 Fibonacci level. That comes in at 52 cent, but there is also resistance at 55.9. Now, we could potentially go straight past that, depending on how strong the volumes are. If the volumes are only mediocre, then we're probably going to stop there. If it's a good strong volume moving to the upside and it's a large amount of volume, then we could potentially go straight through that 55.9 and approach the 61.7. Okay, and then obviously after that we're going to be talking about hitting the high level that we saw here on the 1st of February before the crash. So one thing or another, ultimately the RSI is not in the best position to be driving huge price discovery. But if the volume is significant enough, we can remain overbought for a significant amount of time. But then a bit of a correction in after that. So yeah, it was really all to play for, Chris. Obviously we have 55.9, 61.7 on the cards, and obviously we have that 74.7 kind of level that we're trying to get ahead of. But really the RSI is not telling us anything, the MACD is not telling us anything, the volumes are flat. Right now we just have to see how the next few hours play out. If the RSI drops down low enough, we might start to see that it's going to potentially keep a upward trend and move to the upside. If that RSI stays high or mediocre and the volume's just going to stay flat, we might trade sideways, the trend line's broken, and we'll have to discover a new pattern. So yeah, everything's all to play for here, Chris.
Yeah, and there are other factors to consider. SBI, their lending platform is now live, isn't it, for XRP? I'm hearing that the 11th of February is going to be a key date in the SEC case as well, between the SEC and Ripple, and obviously we've got that 22nd date as well for February. So we've got all this stuff going on in the background. Obviously, depending on what the outcomes are on the 11th and the 22nd, could potentially move the market in either direction, right? So very interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing how February plays out for XRP and Ripple, Nick.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've just brought up the kin token as well, because this is something we have to consider and understand what happened here with the kin token. I speak about this a lot because I think it's quite important, right? So Kick Interactive had a lawsuit filed against them from the SEC for unlicensed security sales, and they basically wanted to get a judge to call the kin token, their native token of Kick Interactive, was a security. They basically went ahead with that, and it was found out that yes, in fact, the kin token is a security, and basically Kick Interactive had to pay a $5 million fine for selling those unregistered securities, right? And obviously now kin is a security, and you have to just go ahead and apply for certain licenses or whatever before selling it. All that said and done, the very next day, so on the very day of the being found guilty, we saw massive price discovery, right? And 7 days after being found guilty and paying their $5 million fine, we saw 961% growth for the kin token. Okay, so the worst thing that can happen to a cryptocurrency is that the founders were selling it as an unregistered security and the token is a security. That's like the worst thing that could potentially happen, right? It's not even on the cards for XRP and Ripple, right? Because XRP hasn't even been requested to be called a security. Therefore, that's not even on the table. So the worst thing that's going to happen here is they're going to get a fine. So the worst case scenario would have been this if they had requested XRP to be a security. And still, in the worst case scenario where a cryptocurrency is found, to be a security, and they've paid a fine, they've been found guilty, you still saw a 961% price increase, okay, in 7 days. After that, in 66 days of being found guilty and classing it as a security, we've seen 1,900% growth. Okay, so it doesn't really matter what happens with the SEC. You're in an accumulation phase, guys. And that's how I see it. I'm looking at potentially a 2,000% increase on whatever money I put into XRP, and just leaving it there until the SEC lawsuit comes to an end. It's kind of like an instant win. I see it, Chris, anyway.
Yeah. I was going to say, you do see a lot of people, particularly, if you had moved out here and, gone into this, and, there's just so many different variables, isn't there? And hindsight is a wonderful thing, right? But for me, yeah, to a point, I'm in a position where I've accumulated anyway. You know, there were some real great dips along the way, right? And yeah, I did increase my position in XRP due to the SEC, you know, case. To be honest, and I know you did as well, Nick.
Yeah, absolutely. It just makes sense too, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So just think about that, guys. 1900%. So it's not a small price boost for an investment in a project. So guys, if you have found this useful and informative, do go ahead and smash that like button for Chris. He really appreciates it. I really appreciate it. And I like to think that you do too. And if by chance you're still not subscribed to the channel, do go ahead and subscribe. By subscribing, you will be kept up to date with all the videos and live streams that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. And with all this said and done, we hope you have a fantastic day, guys, and we'll catch you all in the next one.
Yeah, take care.